And we are back with more on News Talk Saga 960. So very glad you could join us on this edition of the Mark Petrone Show. A real pleasure to bring in Andy Lee, who's looking back over her shoulder because probably she hears some noise, maybe some mysterious knocks on the door. Andy is an investigative journalist as she walks away and closes the door. Isn't life wonderful? Andy is doing some fantastic work on one of the companies that was handed a very lucrative deal by the government of Canada. This is Artron Laboratories, Inc. They tout themselves as a leader in the creation of antibody rapid test kits for COVID. So if you think you might have it, they've got an antigen test kit that reputedly is effective for finding out whether or not you've got COVID or not. The problem was they touted themselves as having made this kit in Canada. That was part of the deal when they were signed up, when the government of Canada said, yeah, you guys are going to get this very lucrative contract. You're going to make this thing in Canada. And when you go on their website, and we can listen to it a little later on, they say 100% made in Canada. Well, Andy has found out that, in fact, that may not be entirely true. Welcome to the show, Andy.
Hi, Mark. It's good to be back. Yeah, so I found out a little bit more since the last time we talked, right? Since episode 1, I've been digging and I've been talking to people, and so
All
yeah.
right. Well,
So
we got some pictures. Okay, so we've got some pictures. This looks like a bill of lading of some kind. Tell us a little bit about that. What are we looking at?
yeah. So I had some people who helped me out there, and they went down to this laboratory that's in Richmond that nobody seems to know anything about, but yet it exists. And so they took these pictures for me, and bless them for doing that and being my eyes on the ground. So this was translated. I mean, it very clearly says COVID-19 antigen. This bill of lading is from, it's from a company called Oshwang, and it's going to Artron Laboratories, which, according to, all my research, doesn't have a location in Richmond. So this is it's a bit of a mystery warehouse. These tests are apparently all made in Canada. Yet we've got boxes and boxes and boxes upon boxes of these that all say that they're, COVID-19 antigen test
Okay.
components. So
Okay. So when you contacted Health Canada, what did they say?
I don't think they know what to say, to be honest. I just don't think they knew what to say. It's kind of a wild story, and it's a real mystery, and it's getting even more mysterious. So the first department I contacted, I was punted from. So that was it was some sort of I think it was the Medical Device Regulatory Office. So they do things like spot inspections, quality control, all those things, right? So they basically said, not my problem. They turfed me over to Medical Devices Directory. So that's who I'm dealing with now. And so we do have an inspector finally assigned. And, they said that they were going to look into it. And, they were going to research it more. And I just kind of said, well, how are you going to research it? Because I haven't even told you where it is yet. So, you might want the address because you're not going to find it anywhere.
All right, let's have a look at this picture as well. So we're looking at a warehouse type of scenario with boxes covered in cellophane wrap.
Yeah, and so there's
What
so
is that?
much of this. There's so much of this. So this was from one of the recordings that somebody did for me.
Okay, so you got an insider over at
Well,
the warehouse.
I've got lots of friends who help me, right? I've always said I don't do this alone, right?
Yeah.
We all contribute, we all research, we all dig in and look and help. So this is one of my helpers. So yeah, that's part of the recording. But there's just tons of this stuff. I mean, it's all coming from Shandong. It's all coming from this laboratory in China that's called Oshwang, and I mean, it all says COVID-19 antigen on it. So, I mean, what are we supposed to believe here? Are these?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I mean, and it would be fine if they had said that from the start, and admitted that this thing was in fact made in China, rather than trying to allegedly now, at least as we have learned, possibly making claims that may not be 100% true. And all you have to do is look at their website to see that they are constantly talking about how this product is made in Canada, 100%.
And they don't just claim it about rapid tests either. They claim it about all of their tests. They do a lot of different things, right? They do pregnancy tests, they do sperm counts, they do all kinds of stuff. And so they're claiming that basically everything they do is made right in Canada, manufactured in Canada. I mean, you can see very clearly from import records, they're importing a lot of their stuff. And yet there's nothing really wrong with that. But is it?
Well, if you look at their website, it's how a Canadian manufacturer of COVID rapid test is working to meet crushing demand. Well, this is actually a story in City News. And when you look at this video, okay, so this is, again, how they're touting. Okay, so this is City talking about the demand for these test kits.
Yeah, and so it was very okay.
Wow, that's a lot of rap.
We can't really hear it, Mark.
What did he say? Oh, okay. So
let us know
they're talking about domestic production. Okay.
Well, ramping
domestic
up
production.
we're ramping up.
Talking about ramping up
domestic
production.
And it's not Canada. Guess what?
I mean, it's not domestic. The problem is it's, we've got a lot of evidence that shows that it's not domestic production. Well, so why are they saying that? And so when you contacted the company, they've kind of been giving you the runaround.
Yeah, so I called them a couple of times, and then finally I talked today to Dr. Umagor, and she's been in the news a little bit. She's a spokesperson. They initially didn't want to talk to me, but then I just said, no, actually, somebody needs to talk to me right now about this. So, I just asked her point blank. I just said, I've got this warehouse here. These bill of ladings that are attached to you. There's import records that are attached to Artron. This stuff is all coming from China. And you're saying that you're making things 100% made in Canada, right? And so, I don't think they really knew where, they weren't expecting that. And so I just said, can you confirm that there's this warehouse and that this is actually your warehouse?
Yeah.
Because I mean, there is, an off chance that maybe these are some sort of a counterfeit operation or something else that's going on, right?
Let's listen to Artron's own video, all right?
We work for you. As the industry's leader in innovation, we perfected our processes to be able to bring you cutting-edge technology
that works faster, more efficiently, and more reliably than any other product on the market.
Our technology development is proprietary. Its results are unparalleled in the industry,
allowing us to bring you exactly what you need, not only more quickly and efficiently, but with more accuracy and sensitivity.
With tests for fertility, infectious diseases, drugs of abuse, cardiac and tumor markers, GMOs, and food safety.
Artron has a range of products that remains unrivaled by any other company in the world.
We have it all here, 100% made in Canada. We do everything in-house, from the initial development of antibodies
to your final rapid test kit.
They've got the Chinese guy saying, to your final rapid test kit.
Yeah.
Well,
so they wouldn't tell me, all that she did say that, yes, everything is made in Canada. And I'm like, well,
not so much. I mean, at least
could be interpreted in many different ways. I mean, like I said, I wanted to give them a chance to sort of answer the questions and whatnot. And like this, most of the rapid tests that we use, a lot of the components are imported from China, right? But don't cover it up. And we need to find out what's going on at this warehouse, because you saw the pictures. I mean, would you want something assembled in that warehouse? Would you want to be putting it up your nose? No. Right? I mean, nobody would want that if they saw that, right? Nobody would want that.
I don't think I'd want to put that up my nose. No, I
mean,
I don't have any confidence in this
anymore. I'll tell you that much.
This rabbit, I mean,
so
for all I know, you know what? I did have to take a test. I took a test in Toronto before I was able to get on a plane to go to Florida, where I've been here for like over 6 months now. And so I had to take a test. I did have to take a test. So for all I know, it might have even been one of these tests. I don't know. I didn't ask the company who was the manufacturer of this this test that I was using. Maybe I should have. I said, "Is this an Artron?" But I didn't know at the time. So to me, it's like you trust the people who are giving you the test, that they know what they're doing, and that the test that they're using is on the level. And now you've raised this issue with Health Canada, and first they gave you the runaround, and then didn't they say they were going to look at it or review it or investigate it? And didn't they also ask for, send us your pictures, give us whatever information you got? Is that the case as well?
Yeah. So they asked for all that. So and they also
gave it to them?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, what am I supposed to do, right? And so they also told me that I wouldn't sort of be privy to any further actions taken by Health Canada. So they wouldn't keep me updated. They wouldn't let me know what was going on or anything like that. So that was interesting. So then, the other thing about this test, though, and it's just like the more I dive into this, it's just the weirder it gets. So these tests, were suddenly sort of approved in Canada, because there was a huge demand. They were given a gobsmacking order for 30 million tests.
Wow.
Right. So these kits are going for 15, 20, 25 bucks a pop. There's a lot of money involved here. Billions and billions of dollars are allocated for rapid tests. So there's a lot at stake here. So they kind of came out of left field and got this approval. But the funny thing is that these tests are banned in the United States. They're not allowed to be used.
What?
The FDA red-listed them.
Why?
They're not allowed to. There was questions about the efficacy. And furthermore, you can see, if you pull up those things that I sent you.
Yeah, well, here's one picture.
Yeah.
All right. So what am I looking at here?
Well, I mean, apparently these are how the tests are being put together, right?
Okay. So this suggests that the kits show up, the components of the kits show up at this warehouse in BC, and that they're assembled there rather than manufactured there.
Yeah. In this warehouse that nobody can seem to find out, like who it belongs to.
Now, you also contacted the BC health officials or labor officials, or who did you contact in the province of British Columbia on this?
Yeah, well, I talked to WorkSafe BC, so they're supposed to be sending somebody
Why
out.
Why did you talk to them?
Well, because I was sent some chats from the workers who apparently work inside this warehouse, and I had to get them translated. They were all in Chinese, so I didn't know what I was looking at. And but anyways, they ended up being allegations that keep that up. Actually, we'll get to that.
Okay.
They ended up being allegations that they were being mistreated, that they were being exposed to toxic chemicals. That's what they claimed in their chat. Did they even
speak English, or were they all Chinese?
Well, I mean, all the chats were in Chinese, so that's all I can say. I had to.
Were they Canadian workers? I mean,
I don't even know, Mark. There's so many like.
Okay, so what are we looking at here? It's obviously a graph of some kind.
Here's the crazy thing about these tests. Well, this is why I think the FDA never approved them, is because it says right here, and sorry, it's kind of small, but it says a concern is the false positive rate of Artron tests.
Hello, false positives.
Because everybody wants inflated COVID numbers, right? That's what everybody wants during a pandemic. So these tests, not only did we sign up for 30 million of them.
Not false positives. I thought that was I thought that was all a conspiracy theory.
And there's always going to be some false positives, right? That's always going to happen. But you know what? You don't want to pick the test that's got the most false positives in a study. That's not your winner.
And let me guess who has the most false positives.
Artron.
Oh, man.
Artron does.
Oh, man.
And now,
man.
And
really?
Yeah. So if you bring up those FDA bills, you can actually see that the FDA, not only have they not approved this, if they get this stuff imported, they seize it.
All
Right?
right. So we've got this picture as well. I'm not sure what this is. What are we looking at here?
I don't know. Like I said, this is just
They just sent you a bunch of pictures. So
I
your
told people to go,
source.
well, I
in the-
didn't know if I thought this was like the most far-fetched story, right? I was
Yeah.
like, I've got these weird chats. They're all in Chinese. I didn't know where this place was. Honestly, I thought that these people were actually in China when I first got these chats. And so, when we finally found this warehouse that actually existed, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, go out there and take pictures of it and tell me what it looks like on the inside, right? And so, I mean, I've actually been touching base with Western Standard because they've got some journalists who are out in British Columbia. So they're going to City Hall and they're trying to find the lease records because we just can't find who actually leased this building.
I guess you just blew their cover. I hope they're not working.
Well, I mean, I blew somebody's cover. So when I asked Dr. Uma Gore about this, I said,
Who's Uma?
So she's like a spokesperson. She's a researcher.
For Artron. Okay.
Artron. So who I talked to today.
Yeah.
So when I asked her about this, I was like, so can you confirm that this is your facility in Richmond? She said something very funny. She kind of slipped up a bit. She just said, I can't confirm all of our warehouses' locations. So I was like,
ooh.
How
Why
many
is it a secret?
How many warehouses have you got?
Okay, well,
because if you look on their website,
do you have warehouses in China? How about that for a question? Do you have warehouses in China?
Right. Well, I'm like, how many warehouses have you got? Right. And what do you mean you don't know how many?
We know there's the one in Richmond, right? There's 2 in BC.
Well, I mean, we can't find out who it's registered to. There's no labels on it. There's no markings on it. There's no signage. There's no business license. There's no, regulatory anything on it that we can find yet, right? So we don't know. But let's assume right now, because there's boxes, that are being shipped to Artron, that it's Artron's, right? Until proven otherwise. I think that's a pretty safe assumption. And they didn't deny that it was theirs, right? They just said, yeah, it could be one of many. I mean, I just don't know what to say, Mark. I don't know what to say.
Well, it would be nice if you could get some answers out of Artron. I mean, they're not being very forthcoming, and they're being very coy, right? At one point, they said, well, why don't you send us your information, and then we'll comment on it later. It's like, why don't you just answer the question? Are these things made 100% as you say they are in Canada, or aren't they? I mean, that was your big selling point, right? That was your pitch to the government of Canada, to help Canada say, hey, we make these things 100% in Canada, hire us. And now we see all these bills of lading from China with Chinese writing on it. And then we find out from the workers there, who don't seem to speak English, that the conditions may not be optimum. So you've done your due diligence. You've gone to the Labor Department in BC. They were a lot more forthcoming and cooperative. So yeah, we're going to look into this, right? Are they examining some of your work?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there she goes. We have lost Andy. I don't know if that's Twitter or what, but say goodbye to Andy Lee. Not sure what happened to her, but hopefully she's going to come back in the not too distant future. And if she does, then we'll bring her back. But there you go. I mean, it's a solid piece of journalism, and I've been at this for a long time. I mean, she's doing a lot of the nitty gritty, the combing through documents. And she's even developed at least one person who's an insider at that lab. And so we're waiting for government to pony up with some information. That hasn't happened yet. And so I guess that's the next step. We got to hear from the company. We got to get solid facts from Artron. Do you in fact make this stuff in Canada as you claimed and as you have said on your website, or not? And if not, why not? What happened? And she's back. Not sure why you disappeared there, Andy. Are you okay?
Yeah, my connection just dropped for a second, Mark. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It happens a lot.
Can
You
you
always
hear
get.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, hold on.
You're freezing a little bit, but that's okay.
You better?
Oh, yeah,
You're back.
you're pixelating. Now you're pixelating.
This is why we don't do live shows. This is
No,
why we
it's fun though.
record.
It's fun.
It adds to the charm, right? This is authentic. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen, there's nothing
So,
like live. Live is
other
working without a
totally
net. I love it.
The other like totally weird thing about this is that if you look at the FDA seizure lists, now what they're seizing, do you have those lists?
Is this one of the pictures that you sent?
Yeah, it's one of the pictures I sent you.
Okay,
So if you look
we're
at
gonna
these
look
lists,
for it. Yeah.
what they're seizing are the reagents. And
What is the what? What is that?
so it's the extraction buffers, right? It's the reagents that are used in COVID antigen tests. And so Health Canada has put out on their website that, there's questions of toxicity. And this warning went out on their website shortly after these tests were rush approved to meet demand.
Okay.
And
Well,
I mean, they won't confirm or deny that there's certain preservatives and chemicals in their tests, right? I don't know why they wouldn't. They say that they're 100% safe. I think that they are 100% safe unless you're a kid and then you swallows it and then they're 100% toxic. And that's happened. So,
toxic.
when
Well,
you
okay, so
when you look at, so I found some material sheets on these tests.
okay.
So, they say don't give these tests to children, right? Keep out of reach of children. Well, they're being sent home with children. They're being sent home from British Columbia schools with kids, right? So, I mean, that's not what Artron says to do. They also say not even to dispose of it in normal garbage. Like they say to dispose of it in a biohazard container, right?
Okay, so the stuff that you're putting up your nose has to be disposed of handled with like hazmat outfits and okay, so no, what okay, so is
That's
this
what they recommend. Now, I mean, of course, companies always err on the side of
all right,
caution.
so let's have a look at some of the photos you sent. Okay, so we've seen the bill of lading from China.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've seen boxes of stuff that may have been shipped from outside or maybe on their way out.
You
We've
should
seen
have
this. I'm
seen
not sure. This
more.
looks like a barber shop type of scenario. I don't know if they cut hair in there. And so here we've got
I'm assuming it's the lunchroom.
okay, and so these is this the
Do you want me to send
were
you
talking-
the FDA stuff? Here, let me just let me shoot it to you real quick here, okay?
sure. And okay, so we've got a comment here. We've got a comment here from Van City Valkyrie. Didn't Health
Hey,
Canada
that's my sleuth. Thank you.
Oh.
That's their videos. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
so this is your
Got
sleuth.
it.
Okay. Van City Valkyrie. Didn't
Yes.
Health Canada recall those tests as well? Did they?
Yes. Well, they put a recall notice up, but they didn't specifically recall the tests. that
Okay, this
I'm
is our
aware of.
sleuth here. That's a kitchen area, and you can see that from the floor plan as well.
Yes. So this is Van City Valkyrie. So they kindly went out to Richmond, BC, and checked all this out for me and took these wonderful videos. And
All right.
like I said,
well,
I couldn't do this
Van
without these
City.
people, right?
All right, so Van City, maybe if you're looking, is this the lunch area that you were referring to here? Maybe let's see if Van City responds to that. And I guess that's the kitchen area. I think we're going to find out in a minute.
I would
But,
think.
um,
Right?
Okay. Anyway, I don't have their floor plan. But
Anyways,
it is
okay.
interesting. Okay, yes, it is. Here we go. Yes, it is.
This is
It
great.
It is the lunchroom.
I guess this is the
Okay,
good thing about doing live.
Okay,
live
well,
stream
let's find
too.
out. Okay, so Van City, as long as you're on there, are you positive that these kits are imported from China?
Well, I mean,
And we're going to find out in a minute. Hopefully, we'll see if
that's what
Van
the
City.
boxes say.
We'll see if Van
Right?
City here is.
That's what the boxes say.
Yeah, we're trying to find out if, in fact, somebody on the inside who works there who obviously speaks English because they're responding in English, is able to answer that question.
Oh no,
Okay,
this is
okay, here we go.
my
100% as seen on the freight labels from China.
Well, I mean, whatever's
Okay.
in there is from Shandong.
All right. And so let me ask you this question, Van City Valkyrie. Are these products safe in your view? Do you think that there's a problem with there? Is there an element of toxicity that makes you leery about even working with this stuff? Let's see what Van City has to say about that as we wait patiently for Van City to respond. This is the kind of the strangest sort of interview I've ever done in my many years.
Yeah, so one of the next things,
work.
since we're here,
But-
actually, I should put a call out. One of the next things I want to do is I want to get somebody independently who can analyze a bunch of tests for me. And I specifically want these ones analyzed. I want to know exactly what's in them. And I want to know
Absolutely,
exactly
yeah.
what's on the swabs. Because, you know, I've been sent some images that these swabs will actually, if you put them under a black light, they'll fluoresce. And other swabs do not, for whatever reason. So what tells me is that some of the swabs are different than other swabs, and that's not entirely shocking, but it's like,
Okay, here we have some more information from Van City. Van City is not working. They're just checking the location for Andy. Okay, so you're doing some sleuthing, and well, hopefully you're not going to get found out. I mean, has anybody asked you, Van City, what you're doing? Like, you know, what are you snooping around here for Andy? Anybody suspicious? Anybody, especially now that Andy's been asking all these questions.
you must know I've got the touch of death, right? Like, I mean, basically everything I touch, you know, disappears or gets censored.
Well, I hope that's not the case.
Or gets nuked. So
I should get a picture of a mushroom cloud or something like that. All right. Well, listen, we're going to find out some more. This is a fantastic story. I think you got a tiger by the tail.
yeah, Mark,
I really
did you
do
get
think
those
so, Andy.
FDA seizures? Did you get them? They should be in your email if you want to pull them up.
Okay. I will try to do that, but I don't know if I'll be able to do that in time. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I see the picture here. Actually, no, I do not. This is an old picture that you sent me earlier. So no.
Okay, well,
Anyway.
they should be on their way, but they're big. But anyways, we can look at that next time. I'm going to keep on digging.
Okay. Van City. I talked to people working next door. They haven't seen any movement at the warehouse for months, apparently. Wow. Van City is doing some incredible work.
No,
Good for you,
no,
Van City. You're doing some incredible sleuthing over there.
they did great. So I mean, and so this, and so we talked about this before, sort of departed Twitter.
Okay, so why hasn't there been any work done? I mean, here it is. They're ramping up with all these COVID. In fact, there's been increasing number of cases.
It's interesting though, because people have told me, the people who sent me the chats from the workers told me otherwise. So we just don't know, right? But yeah, it doesn't look like there's a lot of people there, because when I said that I was sending somebody there, they said, okay, there's somebody there right now. They're driving an Audi, right? So that's the right spot. Go look in there and see what they're doing. So yeah, yeah. So you know, it's really hard to figure out. And the other thing is, like, was this something that they were working on and now they've abandoned it and now they're manufacturing stuff in Canada? To be fair, I mean, that's a possibility. You know, was this stuff that they imported and intended to bring to market and had to abandon?
Well, I think the most important thing is, have people been using test kits that were supposedly manufactured in Canada that were actually manufactured in China? That maybe they were shipped here, they were assembled here, but actually manufactured in China. And so, I mean, that speaks to the lack of due diligence by Health Canada, in my opinion, because if they didn't follow up to make sure that these guys were doing everything that they were supposed to be doing, well, then clearly there's a problem. And so,
well, I mean,
we're going to get more information on this. But you know, fantastic work.
No, and from the sounds of it, I've got to find more warehouses. They don't know.
Where are those warehouses?
They don't know how many there are. They don't know where they are, but they're out there.
You know, is it possible that those warehouses are actually in China? That's what
Well, I mean, you would
know.
think that a spokesperson from the company would know where they're manufacturing and assembling their tests,
You would think, and yet
right?
they're not doing it.
Where their locations are and stuff. So it's all
All right.
very,
Well,
the
I
plot
think we're
thickens. The plot thickens. So yeah, so we've gone to working with Western Standard. So Reed Small has gone to City Hall, and he is trying to pull some strings in City Hall so we can find out just who leased this building.
all right. Andy, thank you. Great work.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Andy Lee, the Real Andy Lee Show. I'm Mark Petroni. Thank you so much. And let's take a break. Come back with more on the Newstalk Saga 960 and the Mark Petroni Show after this.